Hey there, welcome to episode 19 of the Cafe Genius Impresarios audio program. I'm your host, Dan Hugo. I am solo once again today. I don't know if I will put a lot of effort into finding guests anymore. Everybody's always too busy. Although, in fairness, this is a short week. Always a great excuse. July 7th, 2023. It is Friday morning. It's time to talk about the Greater Vegas wants versus wants. As I'm want to do, that's a little hit there. As I'm wont to do, I'm playing with spellings and juxtapositions of words. The Greater Vegas wants, plural. Greater Vegas wants to be something, but is it want to be something? Let's get on with it. So we sometimes hear, and this is in the summary of the show notes, which you do not read. We sometimes hear that one's eyes are bigger than one's stomach. This is usually, especially at a buffet, usually around eating, filling the plate. I would ask if the same might be said of regional innovation and entrepreneurialism. Wanting to have those things, to possess a population aimed at and focused on innovation and entrepreneurialism versus what we are actually want to have and be. This is starting to make sense. So if you are listening and you have not even seen the title of this episode, Want, W-A-N-T versus want, W-O-N-T. So we may desire something, but we may not tend to be or do what we desire. And I'm talking about regional scale, not even city scale. If you are not within the administrative boundaries of the city of Las Vegas itself, you are probably still in Vegas. If you're anywhere near here, as I always start with, the Welcome to Las Vegas sign is not in Las Vegas. There you go. We already have a larger plate on which to pile our snacks. So what is innovative entrepreneurialism? They're two great tastes that go great together, of course. You can be an innovator, not be an entrepreneur. You can be an entrepreneur and not be innovative. You can open a franchise McDonald's. That's not necessarily innovative, but you can still be entrepreneurial in doing so. You can be an innovator while working for some other company. When I was working with Intel, there were certainly countless innovative people working for Intel Corporation. Innovative entrepreneurialism, however, is a completely separate beast, and they are two things that do go great together. They don't have to go together, but they do go great together. So, do we have enough people, either or, both? Do we have innovators? Do we have entrepreneurs? Do we have innovative entrepreneurs in the Greater Vegas, what I will continue to refer to as the entrepreneurial ecosystem? I say no. I believe we are missing a culture of innovation here. We may have entrepreneurs. We have countless small businesses. We have people willing to start businesses. The core definition of an entrepreneur is somebody who, starts a business, especially who invests or gathers money to invest in that business and commences operating it, all the joy and pain of paperwork and so on. So we have entrepreneurs here. That's not an issue. Do we have the sort of innovative entrepreneurs that many believe we have or will have? If you hear phrases such as, we will be the next Silicon Valley, we are going to blow up, we're going to be the next tech hub. If you hear these things, you have to wonder where they are coming from. I do. Do we have a critical mass then of innovators? And if they're entrepreneurs, that would be great. They don't have to be. Are there people, individuals here in the Greater Vegas area? And so by that, I mean essentially Southern Nevada, right? Clark County, maybe even a little bit further away. Do we have rooms full of people who want to be innovative? I use the hackathon metric, and that is the basis on which I base that. Doesn't sound right. That is the basis of my concern, is participation in the notion, not my hackathons necessarily, but in general. What do I mean by that? This is a culture of solipsism, unfortunately. That is anecdotal. It's observation I've made over the last 10 years. By the way, my 10-year anniversary moving to Vegas after a house fire in Silicon Valley is coming up very quickly. Technically, I visited Vegas for the first time as a potential resident. I had been here before. I visited, I think it was the 12th, July 12, July 15, somewhere in there. So 10 years ago, coming up quick, about a week from now. And officially August 1st, by the way, is my sort of line in the sand anniversary. So 10 years. There's one thing I've noticed. It is that we are a region of self-interest. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. That's sort of a survival instinct, I think. Looking out for oneself. It's actually especially true in the case of handling emergencies. You cannot help others if you cannot move, or if you are, you must help yourself first. This is often true in the wild. You look out for yourself, then the offspring, the herd, or the gang. So there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but it is a foundation on which we should consider the potential of our innovation culture. So do we have the innovation culture that I already said that we do not? So what do we do about that? And by the way, you don't have to agree with me. You may find yourself being just as innovative as ever, and I will not argue with that. I am talking aggregates. I'm talking like population scale, not individual or small team size scale. Small team size, meaning you and a friend, you and your tiny startup, 4, 6 people. Larger, maybe 10, 20, 100. These may well exist here in the greater Vegas area. I've not done a deep dive survey, although we will. That's something we'll get into in future episodes. Understanding the terrain on which we are operating, and so that some of my assertions today will either be shown wildly inaccurate or closer to the mark than I wish they were. I've heard said that if we simply have more access to capital, the issues that I'm concerned about here, and which I will express in other episodes in the future, and which I've kind of touched on in the past, sprinkling some money on top will fix everything. We just need more money. Now, I know I would like more money. I think that would fix everything for me. You probably say the same thing, because when you imagine the world through the lens of an individual, money enables movement. It enables, if you have the money to buy what you need or to hire who you need, then it would seem that short-term challenges do evaporate. And that's probably reasonable. It's probably a completely legitimate view for many. Even if you have a coffee shop and you have money, you can buy another espresso tamper. You can buy more mugs and saucers. You can buy more chairs and tables. You can open another location. So having money on an individual or micro scale is fine. When you speak macroeconomically, though, if we may, then simply having capital does not motivate or elevate or any other generate. So shout out to generator, wherever they may be at this point. It does not necessarily magically induce the cultural shift, the economic diversity one might seek without the raw materials, the people, the infrastructure, the culture, etc. So can we sprinkle money on top, or anything on top of the greater Vegas entrepreneurial ecosystem, and have it flourish as a new and improved diverse economy of high-tech unicorns looking for exits to make their investors money? The short answer is no. So do we have the talent and culture to do these things? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm totally misreading the population here. It has only been 10 years, but I have to say that there are certainly pockets. You may be listening to this thinking, but I'm not disagreeing with you. My concern is that the larger population on the whole, or in, sets of pick any 1,000 people. How many of those 1,000 people, and at random, by the way, don't pick your friends. Don't pick your friends' noses either. How many of 1,000 people randomly selected in the greater Vegas entrepreneurial ecosystem would consider themselves innovators and would actually act on that assertion, the belief, I am an innovator? Well, what would you think is innovation? If they can't answer that, then maybe not. So as I mentioned, the hackathon measure that I apply skewed, obviously. If you don't know by now, I'm the managing director of the Innovate for Vegas Foundation. It's right there in the name. We actually changed the name from Code for Vegas to Innovate for Vegas to be more inclusive. Not every piece of innovation is coding. You can be innovative in a kitchen, in front of an easel with paintbrushes or pencils. You can be an innovator with a camera, a microphone, a skateboard, a bicycle. The list goes on. So you can be creative with your laptop or anything else. So the question of innovating is not even one that we can say yes or no to en masse, right? Individuals, on an individual basis. So en masse, are we a culture of innovation? I think not. individually, are we innovative? Sure. You can always try out a new topping on a hamburger or something. I mean, there's the notion of being innovative. I'm not diminishing it. I'm saying it's on an individual or microeconomic or micro innovative scale. That's not difficult to do, but it's when you are offered an opportunity or given a chance to collaborate with others, to take on a specific project. For example, the upcoming Innovate for Vegas Foundation facilitated Innovate for Vegas event itself, facilitated International Space Apps Challenge, which is a NASA project. There will be a Las Vegas team, or I guess technically it's a Las Vegas event for a local event. And then there will be teams, one or more people can work together on a project according to some of the topics that the NASA people will be publishing in later September for the hackathon on October 7th and 8th. So if we gather a room full of people who want to try their hand, so to speak, try their hand at innovating towards space, it is not about coding. It is about innovating. So there may be, even on the website for the project or for the upcoming event, they make it clear it's for storytellers, it's for coders, it's for creators, it's for scientists, it's for artists, anybody who wants to innovate, regardless of exactly what you think that means, is welcome and invited. And that's fine. That's what we've been doing ourselves. So can we, however, get people here in the greater Vegas entrepreneurial ecosystem to exhibit this innovation at scale quality, I suppose, and then extend that into the long term to make what has been referred to as an innovation hub out of greater Vegas ecosystem to introduce a modicum of economic diversity. Not everything is tourism, although it is certainly a lot. So we have a destination city already, right? Tourism, we have gaming, we have general hospitality, we have entertainment, we have ever more sport interests, sporting events, sporting visitors, sporting revenue. The NFL is having a meetup next week as I speak today concerning how to make use of or take advantage of, I think they said it was a $1.7 billion injection of sport fan commerce that will be introduced to the greater Vegas area thanks to the Las Vegas Raiders. So the KPIs, the key performance indicators for a city that so highly values, and appropriately so, tourism, visitors, whether it's conventions or sporting events or gaming or general hospitality, seeing a show, playing a show, anything. We have a very different set of indicators that define what it means to be successful or to win. And that is very different from a city or a locality that is based much more heavily on innovation. I should say that I worked in Silicon Valley from when was it? It was 1993 to 2001, and then 2005 to 2013. And then I moved to Vegas. What happened in that gap in the middle there, 2001 to 2005? Well, I was tired of Silicon Valley. I moved away. 9/11 happened. Remote consulting became a very unpleasant and rare engagement. Eventually, I moved back to Silicon Valley, and when I moved to Las Vegas, I moved after a house fire, so it wasn't necessarily in the plans, but it was a good move. It was a move away from what has become sort of an elitist, extremely expensive, largely out of touch culture. So do we want to be Silicon Valley here in the greater Vegas area? Absolutely not. I hope not. I hope that doesn't come to pass. That would be unfortunate, in my opinion. But do we have to reevaluate what our KPIs are? What does it mean to be an innovation hub? Does it mean we have more exits? Does it mean funding tech startups and counting winners over losers? You'll hear that often from people who are overly concerned, in my opinion, with that. They'll tell you how many exits they've had. And you ask, well, what was your name again? I didn't even get your name. I just heard the exits. So if you're going to brag about exits, that's wonderful. Not everybody wants to exit. Some people just want to have a business that they start because they want to. So our KPIs are probably aimed more at, can I call it, like short-term satisfaction, short-term return on investments. If you're at a craps table or a poker table or you're at a slot machine, you're not thinking, what is this going to do for me in 5 to 10 years? You're thinking, am I going to win now? Or am I going to have to go to the ATM, right? So if we look at, and I'm not saying that tech startups are on the same sort of timeline, but there's a similar thinking, right? Like, is this investment going to make money? If you're an investor, that's fine. If you're thinking macroeconomic scale, city, count, larger, not everything is going to be an exitable unicorn, hyper-scalable tech startup that we will celebrate. In fact, not a lot of those come through the greater Vegas or even Nevada areas. So we're setting our sights on big wins, but we're not going to be Silicon Valley, my opinion. So if we want to change the KPIs to accommodate a destination city that is focused on tourism and gaming and so on, and add to it the notion of being an innovation hub, we cannot simply toss out the existing KPIs. We also cannot simply magically flip a switch and have everyone agree that long-term, big-scale, unicorn innovation changes can just happen. What's in it for me, etc. So it's going to be a cultural shift that will take a while. 5 to 10 years, maybe longer, if at all. My opinion, we need to start this with students. If you're 25 listening to this, first of all, I don't believe you, but it may be too late for you. You have grown up in a Vegas, first of all, with a pandemic, but second of all, with the notion that 90% of your work in school can be solo. You don't really need to collaborate with anyone. You have tested and passed. You are a graduate of our public school or even private school system. Maybe you're going to college. Maybe you're attending a boot camp or vocational training. Good for you. Does that make you an innovative part of our innovation hub? Not necessarily. The culture needs to be instilled in people at a much younger age. I often tell people I have the curse of knowledge. I've been to hackathons at different parts of the country, US, and the world, and we don't have that here. I've been in a hackathon with 100 people of, we'll say adult age, working for companies, 30s, 40s, actual engineers, and these are tech hackathons. But I've been to college hackathons, 1,200 to 1,500 people, staying awake for 2.5 days, working on projects for fun. That's what innovators do on the weekend when they're not innovating for money or for their grades or for research projects. They collaborate with others who have a similar mindset. Not everything is code. You can collaborate on projects as a visual designer, as a user interface or user experience designer. You can have any other ideas. You can be a user and be a tester. You can tell people what they need to fix. All parts of the picture need someone to fill in the pixels. Not everything is code. So if we can get younger students, I personally reach out to Junior Achievement. I volunteered for several activities over the last year and a half. I met with Junior Achievement folks here. We reach out to younger people all the time because that is where entrepreneurial values and basic intellectual curiosity are hopefully to be found and certainly to be elevated, encouraged. We should be teaching innovators, not workers. If your entire educational platform is aimed at training future gaming employees, casino dealers, bartenders, valet parkers, etc., you will not be growing or even enabling the best and brightest to turn their ideas into action. You're training them to work for other people. Not anything wrong with that, but all options should be on the table from a very young age. I was fortunate enough to have that presented to me very early on, and I think that's how I got where I am, for better or worse. So I think we need to actually have a culture of innovation instilled, or at least available, visibly apparent, not with the eye, but in general. Just you can see it, you can hear it, you can smell it, that there is innovation happening. Not everything is about the F1 paving of roads or the ridiculously overpriced Oakland A's. It remains to be seen if they will really be the Las Vegas A's. The A's stadium, the athletics, the Port Tropicana. As I say this, again, July 7th, 2023, we'll see how that unfolds. But we spend an inordinate amount of time focused on the tried and true, the old standbys, the things that are the destination city components that everybody knows. Where would you go to figure out who's working on what in the entrepreneurial ecosystem? Good luck with that. So until our entrepreneurial ecosystem actually celebrates or enables discovery of real entrepreneurialism, could be coffee shops, like I said, could be the next unicorn, it could be somebody designing a biotech, a cure or a greater understanding. It could be anything. It could be anything. innovation can take many forms until that becomes a top level item that makes headlines just as often as murder, crime, theft, fires, gunshots. The list goes on. And of course, winning. People often make the news here for winning jackpots. Great. So we need to focus more on and make innovation a more first-class citizen, a top-tier interest item. We need to focus on it and them, that innovation is happening, and it's innovators doing it. And of course, we need to enable the student, no matter the age, the 21 plus Vegas culture needs to go. You do not need to be 21 and older to be an innovator. And of course, we as well need to invite remote participation. The world is a big place, much, much bigger than Las Vegas. People often ask me why I'm so pessimistic. I tell them I am not pessimistic. I'm still here. For the duration of that truth, I will endeavor to foster, enable, and encourage innovation here. An individual, it is difficult to make large sweeping changes. You can help. I'll leave you with that. So thanks for listening, as always. I don't really push very hard on sponsors and fundraising, and I still won't. But at some point, I'll enable some sort of support button or something. But for the moment, I hope you've enjoyed the show. I am trying to get more innovators on the economic side or entrepreneurial side. I do have an additional podcast show, Let's Innovate for Vegas, probably available where you have been listening to this one. We talk more about the specific innovation practices. We have various projects. We are reaching out to civic volunteers who would like to make their communities better. Thanks again for listening. Like I said, hopefully you had a safe Independence Day and you're looking forward to a long, hot summer. Take it easy.